Hey, if you guys want to be a creative director, I'm actually here for a creative direction job. Today's kind of a moment off. I'm going to show you in this video how to become a creative director, what I did to get there, and then also some steps of what not to do, because there's a lot of mistakes that you can make along the way, and I'm going to share some of those. So we get the good light, and let's talk about being a creative director. Alrighty. Now we got some more light here. Let's talk real fast about creative director, how you can become a creative director, whether you're a photographer or a videographer, director of some sort, right? But other artists, other creative fields, you can listen to this too, because this is going to be really important, and the steps are very similar. I'm in Atlanta right now. I'm creative directing a job right now. So I don't have my camera besides this camera for my vlog. I don't have my gear. It's just my iPad, and that's about it. So yeah, Atlanta's super special for me. But let's talk about how you can become a creative director too, if that's what you want to do. The reason why I'm making this video is that I'm seeing so many photographers create titles for themselves saying they're a creative director. And you guys know I always do this tough love thing, so if you follow this channel, I'm going to start off by saying something that might be offensive, but no, you're not a creative director. You're not. And if you're watching this video, chances are you're not a creative director. If you are calling yourself a creative director prematurely, you have to watch this video to the end, because I'm going to tell you right at the end why you don't want to do that and why that's detrimental to your career, okay? But first, let's talk about the steps that you can take if you want to become a creative director. So you could be photographer or videographer, and then the next step would be that you do the other, right? So photo will go to video, video will go to photo, and that just to get an idea of what that world is like and dabble in that world and take clients and take jobs in that world and really understand that, and also work with the team next to you, like the hair and the makeup and the stylist and the clients and the budgets and all of that. Then from there, one of the common paths is that people will go towards being an art director. An art director is the one that helps, and depends on each business, but an art director will help you put like album packaging together, or magazine layouts, or product layouts, and things like that. That's really important too, and they work directly with the creative director. Now, in some companies, there might only be one of them, but most companies, the big companies, there's like 2 to 3 of these people. So you go through these steps because you want to learn everyone's role. And that's what a creative director does. A creative director oversees everybody. So imagine like this army of people here working, and the creative director is on top, making sure everybody is on point and that they're on the creative vision and direction that they are leading the company, which is a lot of responsibility, which is what I'm doing here. So how do you get that responsibility? The first way that you don't get it, you don't call yourself a creative director if you don't have those years of experience under your belt. And I don't want to crush your soul, because I'm going to tell you guys how to get to the next steps, okay? So you got to get to the next step to get the next set of tools, the next set of experience under your belt. That means photo has to go into video. Photo has to really understand hair and makeup. That doesn't mean you have to do hair and makeup, but really understand their world, their budgets, their concerns, what their puzzles are, what their day is like, what is needed from them, how to negotiate with them. Because you're going to be doing that as a creative director and a stylist. And you have to sit and really get to know your clients well, and sit with clients and really understand what they're going through, and how you're going to hold their hand and give them something very visually appealing. Experience matters, because people are hiring you for your experience. A creative director isn't generally holding a camera. Remember, you guys cannot be a creative director and a photographer on the same job. It doesn't make sense, because if you're the photographer, you should have been hired by the creative director, but you can't also be the person hiring yourself. And a photographer has to answer to the creative director. So are you going to talk to yourself? It does not make sense. So never do that. That's the first sign of being an amateur creative director. All right. You could be a creative director for one client, that job finishes, then another client calls you for photography. That's separate. You can be both. And I've been doing that for the past few years on a freelance basis. Experience matters because on a creative director on set, they are counting on you and your experience and your Rolodex or your contact list to help them navigate what is treacherous waters. So in experience in this job, I have experience on how to talk to the press and the blogs. I have experience in visuals, as in what's going to look good. I have experience with celebrities. I have experience with overseeing things like big events and experiential things. I have experience with recording artists, a lot of experience with them. And I have experience with the company's videography team, so they're going to be taking my direction and taking a lot of pictures and videos and things like that. Because I have the experience, I'm able to look at the event planners' budgets and cut out what needs to be cut out and negotiate things. And because I have that experience, I get to look at certain things like our talent releases and make sure that those are right. So all of this is because I have years and years of experience, and I've worked on hundreds of sets, and I've managed probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of budgets that have gone through basically the accounting and everything, and I've overseen all of it. That's a lot of experience. This is why you cannot call yourself a creative director early, because you don't have that experience. Talking about experience, so let's talk about how we're going to get it. If you're a photographer and you want to move to creative direction, give yourself a goal. I want to start creative directing in 4 years. Okay, so let's do that. That means you can't just throw that title around. It's not respected. How you get the experience is the same way you got your experience with your portfolio. You start doing test shoots. So you're going to do a test shoot as a creative director. That means you're going to find a store, you're going to find a website, you're going to find a recording artist, you're going to find a clothing brand, you're going to find a product, whatever sect you want to go down on, you're going to find them and you're going to do a test shoot with them. Okay, so a creative director is going to make sure that the whole team is hired and that it's the right team. Get to planning a shoot. You hire a photographer, hire makeup, hire hair, hire the models, you make the mood boards, you pass that out to everybody, you be the king or the queen on set, you give all the commands, you give an okay and a green light to every single shot, you deliver everything. That is your first creative director job. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your best 2 to 3 images and you're going to put that in your portfolio, and maybe it'll say, let's just say you did creative direction for Sony. Let's just say you did something for Sony, okay? So you're going to put the Sony logo, and assuming they hired you, don't say you work for Sony if you didn't. You're going to take the company's logo, you're going to take your 2 to 3 best pictures, and on your website, you're going to maybe put like a paragraph that describes what you did for the job. And you're not going to describe, oh, I did this and I did that, I did this and I did that and that and that and that and that. You're not going to do a bullet point of everything you've done as far as like who you hired and what you negotiated. What you're going to say is something like this: I oversaw the planning of the Sony commercial for their experiential department. My job was to connect the experiential department with Sony's $1 million campaigns by utilizing their brand aesthetics, playing to their ideal client avatar, staying on brand for the company, managing the entire crew, bringing on the talent, negotiating the budgets, negotiating the talent releases, and packaging it all together so that it is one cohesive package. Now you want to write something like that, okay? Then you go do your second one, and then you go do your third one. But I'll tell you this, don't do a creative direction for a dog food company, then an automobile company, then a human. It's just kind of like running in all these different directions. It's just not good, right? So if you want to be a music creative director, only work with musicians, and only work with the kind of musicians that you want to work, whether it's country or hip hop or whatever it might be. My experience largely is with record covers and music personalities. So I'm working with a record label and I'm bringing their projects to life. I'm staying in my lane. I'm not jumping to Jaguar. I'm not jumping to Toyota or anybody else. But you start somewhere and then you start building, just like you did with your photography. And this is how your creative direction career starts. Now, do you see why it takes 2, 3, sometimes even 4 years? Most creative directors, the real ones, the ones that are very successful, the ones that have done some amazing things, most of them are starting in their 40s, upper 30s. Why is that? And again, I explained that that's because they need years and years and years of experience. They need experience in putting out fires. They need experience in contracts and budgets. They need experience in hiring people and resourcing people and outsourcing people. They need experience in every single facet of the set. Like, they need to speak for the makeup artist and speak to the makeup artist. They need to speak for the model and speak to the model. They need to speak for the client, speak to the client. You see where I'm going with this? You have to be in every single person's shoe, wear every single person's hat on set. What happens when somebody calls themselves a creative director early? That's detrimental to your career. And I'll tell you why, okay? Number one, you are not experienced. And that means you may not know how to put out emergencies, put out fires. You may not know how to hire people and negotiate with people. You may not know how to read contracts and look for the legalities and then look for the loopholes and look for the pitfalls. You may not know how to stretch a budget. You may not have the contacts, right, to go out there and start resourcing people. You may not have that. And there's nothing wrong if you don't have that. That just means you don't have enough years under your belt. You may not know how to speak with every single person in their different jobs, including the client, and you may not know how to speak for them. It's tough being a creative director. And at the end of the day, you can say what you want about the photographer or the client, but it was the creative director that greenlit every single thing. And that's gonna be on you. And you wanna make sure that you are completely prepared. You're never gonna be 100% prepared, but you are very prepared and you have those years under your belt. That is why these creative directors are in their 30s and their 40s when they're starting their careers, because they had to struggle as a photographer. Then they moved to video, then they moved to art director, then they moved to managing clients, and they moved to freelance managing clients. Then they moved, you see what I'm saying? It takes years and years and years to put all that together. So yes, you can do it, but like I told you, build your portfolio slowly, the way that you built your photography portfolio. And then before you know it, if your photography is here, creative director is here, it's slowly gonna go like this, right? And then you decide which one is gonna take the lead. And you decide how much you're gonna do of each one. That's entirely up to you and it's your career. But your creative director career cannot start if you're in your first 2, 3, 4, 5 years of photography. I know that there's the one-offs, but the 99% of it, they're not like that. But why don't you want to call yourself a creative director early? Well, number one, you're cheating yourself of all these years of experience. Number two, I'm going to treat you very unfairly if I'm hiring you. And I'll tell you why. If I'm hiring somebody who is a creative director, I'm assuming that they're in their 30s. I'm assuming that they are in their 40s or 50s or 60s. That also means that I'm assuming they have years and years and years under their belt. So now I'm gonna get a portfolio in front of me of someone who's a creative director and they've done all these clients. And then I'm gonna get a portfolio of someone here who calls themselves a creative director, but they're not there yet. So then I'm going to start looking at everything with a really, really picky, selective, discriminating eye. I'm gonna look at your work and go, that's not good. What is that? That's too, why did you hire that person? Why did you dress them like that? Why is that picture there? Why isn't the logo on the other side? Why isn't it this? You see what I'm saying? You don't have the chance to grow. You're not giving yourself the grace to grow as an artist and as a creative director. So you're going to have unfair treatment. You're going up against people who have 20 or 30 years experience and 20 or 30 years of contacts, or even 10 years of contacts ahead of you. It's tough, okay? So follow my path. Start bringing in creative director work. Build it out. You build out the shoot. You build out everybody. And you do not photograph it. Don't double dip. It does not work like that. You are the creative director. You are the ultimate boss. Not every single shoot needs a creative director. Not every project needs a creative director. But if you're going to have one, they hired the entire team, and that includes the photographer. So don't put yourself in a bad position. Allow yourself grace to grow and to develop, and then allow yourself the grace to have mistakes on small jobs and not put yourself on big stages, because people are going to expect a lot from you, and they're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in your hands to manage, to budget. It's a wonderful way to destroy a career before it even fully hatches. Practice on yourself. You're going to do amazing. You're going to do great. If you have questions, obviously, as always, you can comment, you can DM me on Instagram. All my social links are down below. My masterclass does sort of touch on becoming a creative director. Get to know everything, become the master, because then you can ask for that kind of a salary that you deserve. Thank you for watching. Check out this next video too. This video is really, really great. It's going to help you more with your marketing and your pricing, overall in your business, all right? And if you love that kind of work, you want to grow in this industry, subscribe to this channel, just because my videos are mostly all about that, or photo shoots. Thank you. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.